everyone, I'm Sarah and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet the Windy Day headscarf. They're super pretty in these bright colors and it's worn like a headband with the scarf coming back. And I call it the Windy Day because I like to wear these outside when I'm working in the yard or the garden or playing at the park with my grandkids. I can just slide this on. It keeps my hair out of my face. And then I also look kind of cute with these bright colors, don't I? I just love bright colors. Now, the headband itself measures about 20 inches around, but keep in mind it's a very stretchy headband and you don't want to make it too big so it slides off your head. You can adjust the band itself and you can find all of the information for adjusting the size as well as pictures and notes on the blog along with the written pattern. And as always, you can find that pattern down in the notes underneath this video. To make our headscarf, you're going to need, of course, some yarn. These are both made out of red heart stripes of different colors, and I'm going to be using this blue one today. It's called Cool Stripe. I believe this one's called Favorite Stripe, and this one is called maybe Peacock, something like that. But anyway, Red Heart yarns have a ton of different types of bright stripes. And of course, if you're not into bright colors, you can do these in solids or variegateds or however you want. You're going to need 2 ounces of any medium weight number 4 yarn. You can even make these in cotton. I just really like these striping yarns. I think they're super pretty and they make beautiful headscarves. We're going to be stitching today with our eye hook, and the eye hook is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. You'll need a needle just to weave in ends, and of course, a pair of scissors. We're going to begin first by making the band of our headscarf, and then we'll work down and make the back portion. We're going to begin by starting a row of foundation double crochets, and it makes a nice stretchy band. We'll make our slip knot and chain 4. Yarn over and go in the 4th chain from the hook and pull up a loop. Yarn over and go through the 1st loop. We've made our chain. Now yarn over and go through the second 2, yarn over and go through the last 2. We've completed our double crochet. Yarn over. Now we're going to go in that chain that we made and pull up a loop. Yarn over. There we go. Go through the 1st loop, yarn over, go through the next 2, yarn over and go through the next 2. And by making a row of foundation double crochets, we're stitching the chain and then the double crochet at the same time. There's the chain. Now the double crochet. And using the foundation double crochet is a great way to form a strong but sturdy band on any edge. It works nice for necks and sleeves and lots of other applications. And so what we're going to do is we're going to stitch 60 foundation double crochet stitches, and remember to count your chain 3 where we started as your first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, and 10. Now, what you can do to keep track is grab some stitch markers and mark that stitch. So now I won't have to recount that 10, and then I can stitch my next 10. And I'll do that until I have 60 foundation double crochets. I have stitched my 60 foundation double crochets, so I'm going to pop out all my stitch markers, set those aside, and what we're going to do is we're going to join this into a circle without twisting. All right, and then we'll join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 1. Now you'll notice there's a little gap there. Let's go ahead and close that up. We'll take the tail of our yarn and we'll just close that up nice and secure. That way our headband will stay closed. And we'll just weave that into the back. Make sure you go through some stitches and some fibers of the yarn to make sure it's going to stay secure. All right, then we'll go ahead and clip that. And so now we've formed the band of our headscarf. We chained 1, and for row 2 we're just going to stitch a single crochet in each of those foundation double crochets around. Go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through both loops. So we're stitching 1 single crochet in each of those foundation double crochets around. We'll do this all the way around and join back to our first single crochet. I have single crocheted all the way around my band. I'm going to join to my first single crochet with a slip stitch and chain 3. Now we're going to begin forming the back portion of the headscarf. Our chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet, and we're going to double crochet in the next 14 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have stitched those 14 double crochets, and then I'll also count my chain 3, so I'll have a total of 15 double crochets. I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to skip the next 2 stitches, and in this next stitch I'll be stitching a 2 double crochet cluster, chain 2, and then another double crochet cluster. Yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. Yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. It'll look like you have 2 unfinished double crochets. Yarn over and go through all 3 of those loops. So we have a chain 2, a 2 double crochet cluster, chain 2, and a 2 double crochet cluster in that same stitch. We're going to chain 2. We'll skip the next 2 stitches and double crochet in the next. And now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch 14 more double crochets so that we have a total of 15 double crochets on this side like we do on this side. So for row 3 we have 15 double crochets, chain 2, double crochet cluster, chain 2, double crochet cluster, chain 2, skip 2, and 15 double crochets. We're going to chain 1 and turn. And now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch the first 2 double crochets together. So yarn over, go in, and pull up a loop. We'll go in the next stitch and pull up a loop. You'll have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through the first 3. Yarn over and go through the second 2. And what we've done is decreased by 1 stitch. Now we're going to place 1 double crochet in each of those stitches across until we reach that chain 2. We decreased by 1 stitch, and then we stitched in each double crochet across. So instead of having 15 like we did on this row, we have 14 double crochets. We're going to chain 2. We're going to stitch those 2 double crochet cluster, chain 2, 2 double crochet cluster in the chain 2 space. All right, so we'll go in that chain 2 space and stitch our double crochet cluster. Chain 2 and double crochet cluster in this chain 2 space. And chain 2. Now we'll come to the double crochet on this side, and we'll stitch 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets across, and when we reach those last 2, we're going to stitch a double crochet decrease, or stitching 2 double crochets together. I've stitched across. Now I'm to the last 2 stitches, and we're going to stitch a double crochet decrease, or stitching 2 double crochets together. Yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, go in the next stitch, pull up a loop. You'll have those 4 loops. Yarn over, go through the first 3, yarn over and go through those 2, and chain 1. And so now for row 4 we have 14 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochet cluster, chain 2, 2 double crochet cluster, and chain 2. And then we have 14 double crochets. And this is the way the pattern's going to work. We're going to decrease on the ends of each row. All right, so this brings us to our next row. Chain 1 and turn. We'll stitch a double crochet decrease. We'll stitch 1 double crochet in each stitch till we reach that chain 2. I've stitched my double crochets across, chain 2. I'm going to stitch the 2 double crochet cluster, chain 2 and 2 double crochet cluster in the chain 2 space, and chain 2. Now I'll go to the other side and stitch 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets across until I reach those last 2 stitches, and again I'll stitch those last 2 stitches together. I've stitched a double crochet in each of those stitches till I reach the last 2, and I'll stitch the last 2 stitches together, and a double crochet decrease, and chain 1. All right, so now we have 13 double crochets, chain 2, cluster, chain 2 cluster, chain 2, and then 13 double crochets. So we're decreasing at the end and beginning of each row. All right, let's do row 6. We've chained 1. We're going to turn our work. we're going to do double crochet decrease, or stitching 2 double crochets together. Yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, go in the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the 3, yarn over, and go through the last 2. And then again, I'm going to double crochet in each stitch across till I reach that chain 2. I've stitched across. I now have 12 double crochets. Chain 2, we'll stitch our cluster, chain 2, double crochet cluster in the chain 2 space. Chain 2, and then again we'll stitch 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets across until we reach those last 2 stitches, and again we'll stitch the 2 stitches together. And again, I have stitched across. Here's my last 2 stitches, and I'll stitch them together in a double crochet decrease, chain 1. And so now for row 6, we have 12 double crochets, chain 2, we have our 2 double crochet cluster, chain 2, 2 double crochet cluster, chain 2, and then 12 double crochets. And I want to show you the side here where you can see we're gradually decreasing down the side of our headscarf. So now what we're going to do is we're going to continue to repeat a decrease at the beginning and end of each row, stitch across, and do the center the same with the chain 2, 2 double crochet cluster, chain 2, 2 double crochet cluster in the chain 1 space, chain 2, and then double crochet across and decrease. And we're going to repeat this for 10 more rows. And as you do those rows, your bandana will gradually move in because you'll lose a stitch or decrease a stitch at the beginning and end of each row. So we're going to repeat double crochet decrease, double crochet across, chain 2, 2 double crochet cluster, chain 2, 2 double crochet cluster, chain 2, double crochet across, and then decrease, and you're going to repeat that for 10 more rows. I have completed those 10 additional rows. That brings me up to row 16. And on row 16 we have 2 double crochets because we decreased all the way down. Then we have our chain 2 with our 2 double crochet cluster, chain 2, 2 double crochet cluster that we worked all the way down the center of our scarf. Chain 2 and then 2 double crochets on this side. We've chained 1 and turned, and now we're going to stitch these 2 stitches together as we've been doing. Yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, go in the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through those 3, yarn over, and go through those 2. We're going to chain 2 like we've been doing, do our 2 double crochet cluster, string there we go, and chain 2 and 2 double crochet cluster, chain 2, and then stitch these 2 together on this side. So now we have 1 double crochet, chain 2, then our clusters in the middle with the chain 2, and 1 double crochet on this side. Now to finish off the end of our scarf, we're going to chain 2. We're going to go to our chain 2 space and stitch the 2 double crochet cluster that we've been stitching. chain 2, 2 double crochet cluster, chain 2, and then we're going to join to that last double crochet there with a slip stitch. Cut our yarn and tie off. And now all we have left to do for our headscarf is to weave this end in. So now I have 3 Windy Day headscarves all ready for me to wear outside, to the park, or just to run some errands to the store.